to some family loss situation, extended family, so I wish him our best and prayers with his family. But I will tell you, Lynn Brown's an awful competent second, if you know Miss Brown pretty well. So I would say tonight's subject I talked about 3 years ago. I talked about it 2 years ago and last year. This is a big deal in Huntington, and so bear with me as I try to make sure our community and our board understand. There are so many dual credits. When I first got here, we were around 1,400 dual credits cumulatively in the high school. Some kids receiving maybe as much as a year's worth, others sporadic. And we started talking with John and I in the high school about how do we streamline this a little more effective. My previous district had anywhere from 8% one year to 16%. The kids would go through and would end up with an associate's degree in high school through Ivy Tech. Not all of their courses were from Ivy Tech. And so this process, we were very wide in Huntington with a lot of different options. And the key to this is to get very streamlined on what do you teach, when do you teach it, how do they know when to take this with your students and parents, but then also which relationship do you have and with which university, because you have to have a primary and then you have to have a few secondary. And I say that because we had a whole bunch of secondary relationships, in my opinion. We worked hard a year ago with Huntington University in a 1+3. You guys saw a couple of presentations on that. We had things in place at PFW. We had things in place with IU and et cetera and Vincennes and so on. But when you have all secondary, the kids can end up with a lot of credits, but maybe not sure which ones go where and also which universities must accept them. And so the task here was a little different than my previous experience, which is how do you take what we're already doing well with 1,400 and some credits and get in the weeds of, okay, if I'm an incoming freshman, sophomore, et cetera, how would I know what gets me to a 1 year of college and what gets me to an associate's degree, and is that possible? Well, it becomes possible when you expand your primary relationship with a university. So tonight you'll hear a little bit about Ivy Tech. Ivy Tech is housed part of the time in our learning center, has been for years here. But they become the primary of these courses are offered. Well, there's a lot of things that take place to get that. And so what I'm proud of Dr. Degetz and his team, some of our teachers that were certified dual credit at one university are now in the process of getting certified through Ivy Tech for a purpose. It benefits our students and our families to have that all funneling towards one. I happened to be a part of a group many years ago that was a little bit frustrated with, well, you have these credits, but these universities don't accept them. And so you end up with 144 credits getting a bachelor's degree versus what you want at 124 or 128, depending on the university. And so that group has 7 public universities that says if they comes through this area, and you'll see that tonight, one of them being Ivy Tech, they must accept these credits as exactly what they're intended. Dual credits for college purpose accepted by all public universities in Indiana. You'll hear a little bit about that. Well, how does it happen that you get all of these teachers ready for dual credit? I can tell you in my past, they've got to go through dual credit certification, which is Huntington has many of them already. But now you need them also at Ivy Tech, so you got to go through the process. We're going through those now. I talked to one that happens to be in the business department. He said, hey, I'm getting certified in the adjunct professor with Ivy Tech. He was already certified at another university, so he'll have both now. It's important for our kids and families that funnel towards one, even though you're certified in others. For the purpose of when kids walk across this stage in the future, in the next 2 to 3 years with an associate's degree, that has to be in place in your high school. You can't just do the shotgun approach, if you will, and I've got a little bit from a lot. It doesn't funnel as well towards one degree. Who's responsible for the associate's degree? Well, in our case, it will be Ivy Tech. That's well known in our state. Huntington had it all, but we needed to get ourselves organized a little bit differently here. I am really, really excited for this board and our community to understand, as our teachers get this in place, as Dr. Degetz and Len and Jared and Taylor Herendeen get this in place, what it's going to come to is, welcome to the best high school in the area. You can get 1 year of college and associate's degree before, as you walk across the stage, and be recognized statewide. What it's going to come to is the majority in my past of the Ivy Tech credits will be free to our kids. Some we didn't have in place at a previous district, and so the kids had to complete in summer, just like they were working for us in summer. They would take it online through Ivy Tech, but they had scholarships in place to offset the cost. And so those things become important as, okay, well, not everyone can afford that. How's these kids going to be able to afford that? So you get those things in place for your families. What will happen in our near future is what we'll talk about the process today. It will save tens upon tens upon tens of thousands of dollars, and kids will leave Huntington North with the highest degree you can get and a diploma simultaneously as they leave this high school. And there's not a ton of high schools that do this, and I am so excited for our kids and parents in our school district to say, but Huntington North's going to be one that you can do this in. And it is not only good for kids, families, but it is a difference maker in a competitive, how to attract kids to a school system. This is a primary difference maker. Can you get this at almost no cost in the future? And the answer at Huntington North is going to be absolutely we can. Let me show you how. Here's your handout. Here's it on the website. Here's the classes you would take. Here's ones that you would take on your own. Here's the scholarships available to help you. As you get those in place to our board, it is a difference maker for multiple levels. I heard when I got here, well, we don't want our degree from there. We want it from another one. I understand that, and that'll still be a choice. You won't get an associate's degree from another one. You can still get dual credits from them. But once parents understand that that degree transfers to IU, Purdue, all of these places, Ball State, Indiana State, and so on, they will understand that 2 years of college at no cost is the biggest difference maker of investment you can personally give a kid coming out of high school. It shows I can do this. I've already achieved. My at-risk population of my former district, what I would tell you is they couldn't have done it without that. They could not have achieved that. But what it showed them is not only I walk out with the ability to have an associate's degree, I walk out with the knowledge, as Len Brown always reminds, that I can do this academically. I can be successful. I am already doing it, and that says a whole lot in terms of your attitude as you enter the workforce or you enter college and other ways. You have a different mindset. So I'm going to let Lynn take you through the slides, but this has been a lot of work and a long time coming here, and this will be a game changer for kids and families. So of all the things we bring to you, there are a lot of wonderful parts to different programs that we have. You will see kids benefit from this for years to come. It'll long after this board's gone, long after Chuck, John, and Jay are doing something else. This is a program changer that for the rest of Huntington North in the years to come, you can say, hey, I remember when that went in, and boy, every time I'm at graduation now, watch. Earning their honors diploma, earning their core, earning their plus, and their associate's degree from Huntington North. It's a game changer in the district forever, and I'm really excited about it. Lynn, if you want to talk a little bit in the weeds about the process, pinch hitting tonight, but I really want the community and board to understand not every school does it. When I keep telling you all that Huntington North and Huntington Schools is one of the best districts, this is another bucket that fulfills that promise of what we say. There's data to what we say, and the data is that if you struggle in school, we have programs for you. If you want to go to one of the finest learning centers on the planet, you can go to Huntington North. They have it. If you want differentiation instruction, we have that. If you want virtual education, we have that. If you want to earn an associate's degree, we got you too. These are what progressive high schools around the nations do for the different audiences that feed in here. And this one's a big one, and I wanted to preface that before we turn Lynn loose. So Lynn, now they're yours. I've taken the excitement part. Now you get to tell them how we do it.
You did all the fun parts. First of all, I want to thank Dr. Daggett. He made all these beautiful slides and did so much work. And you get the B team instead of the A team, but I'll do my best to do him justice tonight. And Taylor Herending is just a genius, and she's worked really hard to make these things happen. So as Mr. Brimberry said, for years we have had dual credit here at Huntington North High School as well as AP classes. We probably have as many, and I say probably, I actually know this to be the case, we have as many as local schools that we compete with for certain. What we didn't have, though, was a structure to it. So kids were walking out sometimes with a year, sometimes close to 2 years with the college credits, but they were random, and they were all based upon the good-heartedness and the extra effort specific teachers gave to a course. And so as an opportunity came, lots of teachers took advantage of that. So we have IU, and we have HU, and we have Vincennes, and we have PFW, and there's a list of schools that we've been working with for a very long time. That didn't make a clean transcript for kids who are leaving. So we began to work on that when Mr. Brimberry came, and especially when Dr. Daggett came. And then the state did us a favor, even though sometimes we don't look at the new laws as favors. In this case, it was a favor. Cindy, if you'd advance just one slide for us, please. So the state created something called a 30 credit guaranteed transfer, which meant that if you got the right 30 credits from the right university, every public university or college in the state has to accept you to their college, and most of the private ones are beginning to, because it's a free market kind of situation, and if they don't, that's going to put them in a difficult place. We already had way more than 30 credits of it. Actually, we have more than 60 college credits available to our students right now in our program of study. Cindy, can you advance one more slide? So the state created a law, and that law said that the public schools and over 40 campuses in the state of Indiana had to accept this proposition if a high school allowed for it. And one of the schools that was at the forefront was Ivy Tech Community College. We already have a large number of teachers that are working with Ivy Tech both here during the school day to get kids school credits and in the evenings and on the weekends and as virtual teachers at Ivy Tech. They also have an office right across the highway in the Learning Center, so kids can actually just walk into the office and talk to Ivy Tech registers pretty much all the time, and certainly by appointment. So that made it a nice connection with us and a pretty easy one to do. Cindy, one more slide for us, please. So what this allows for our kids is free dual credit offerings for high schools. Part of that new law says that pretty much any credit they would get from Ivy Tech in this core 30 group of credits are going to be absolutely free to the student. They're also physically the closest college and university physically for us to work with, since they're actually in our building every single day. They're also listed on that list of state institutions, and we are very close to offering it in the 2027-28 school year, this close. Cindy, would you advance one more time for us? So here's what is unique about Huntington North University High School. We have all of these things locked up for the new honors seal. Every single one of those pieces is completely locked up right now while I'm sitting here. There's nothing that we need to add. We are good to go. Can I brag for just a minute? So there's Miss Brown, and then there's Lynn, who graduated from here in 1985. You're going to have to drive a long way to find a high school right now in the state of Indiana have all three of those things right this minute. We go to meetings all the time, both for how do we deal with the new diploma laws and the new accountability laws. And we sit in rooms with principals and superintendents who are a little freaked out about a lot of this. We're next to people who will brag about their enrollment. Occasionally, they're able to brag about their employment, of course, almost always because they're part of a co-op, not because they have their own co-op situation within their school. And rarely do they have enlistment unless they're right next to one of the military bases in the state of Indiana. That's just true facts that we are, like, you can brag about this, all right? So what this does for us even better is, if you'll advance one more slide for me, please, Cindy. Whoops. There should be another, there we go. So the next one is, what if we want an honors plus seal? And we sat in the room and we double checked everything to make sure our kids would be good to go. And to our surprise, the one thing that we were like, we have almost everything that kid would need, including the Indiana Corps, College Corps. What we did not have was an associate's degree. And so we are able to check everything off in all three categories if we add this associate's degree. So a kid can, and notice they only have to do one of the following in those top bullets, earn an associate's degree, earn an Indiana College Corps, or an AP Scholar of Distinction. Once we have this associate's degree in place, a kid can do all of those, plus the things below. For enlistment, right now in this moment, they can do all of those to earn an honors plus seal. And for employment, you'll notice again that the associate's degree is one of the things that we could check off, and so they'll be able to do all of those things. Which means, and I'm not suggesting this is a good idea, so parents who want their child to be like the best and brightest, please understand that if you actually encourage your kid to do this, this is a giant step. But you actually, once we have this associate's degree, could earn all three of these seals. Like, it could walk out of here with all three of these seals. Now that would mean they would have to take the associate's degree. They'd have to be involved with our CTA programs, which is really common for kids to do both. And they would also have to be part of JOTC, which occasionally happens. So I'm not saying that most of our kids are going to walk across the stage with all three honors plus seals, but it's actually a possibility. And we went to great lengths to lay everything out and double, triple check so that we'd be able to do that for our kids. Again, you're going to be hard-pressed to find another high school where that's the case this quickly after this new law has been enacted. If a kid wants to take advantage of these things, we're absolutely ready to help them do it. So we've put in some things. Mr. Brimberry likes to talk about buckets of kids, which always kind of cracks me up because I visually see him putting kids in buckets. But we've done things to help those kids who struggle in the school system. We've done things to help kids who are ready for employment. We've done things for JOTC. We've always had a strong academic piece, but now we're going to take it to the next level, and we will do everything that the state encourages, not some of the things. Kids won't have to choose. They can do whatever they want to be able to be successful once they walk out of here. I want you to realize that to get this associate's degree, really it's signing an agreement with Ivory Tech and having 2 teachers change the schools that they work with, one that's currently working with IU and one that was currently working with Vincennes. Like, that's literally what we had to do to get the associate's degree here. That's how close we were. So then some organization and some sweet talk with Ivy Tech and some forms to be signed and an agreement that you guys will be presented with, and we're there. It's not a huge step. We were really, really close. It would be insane not to step through and give the kids this additional opportunity. I am ready to answer any questions and or tell you that Dr. Dagetts will get back with you if you ask me too hard of a question.
Thanks for the information, Lynn. And you talked about the law change, but in reality, we started this prior to that. That was the True North program. Can you just talk about a little bit about that? Because in reality, it encompasses that and how we were able to get there so quickly because of that True North program.
So we have had college classes, credits here since the 80s, I think, certainly from the 90s. They were just random and all over the place, and now we're organizing that. In Dr. Dagetts' first tour of duty here, he created something called True North, and the idea was that we would try to find a way for every single kid to find their true north, to find the thing that was going to set them on the pathway for success in adulthood. And as a part of that, we began to talk about how do we support every single kid so that they can be successful? Because people aren't all the same, right? That put us ahead of the curve of all the changes that the state has made in the last couple of years. We didn't actually know that we were positioning ourselves for the crazy that was about to come, but we uniquely did. I was so excited when Dr. Daggett, it's hard for me to call him that because he did his student teaching in my classroom. Like, I remember him as a 21-year-old, where I'd be like, yeah, don't say that in class. But he came back with that passion, and because of his experience when he was at HU, he was uniquely qualified to help us go there quickly. Because of Tiffany Drummond and her brilliant vision and the things that she's done in CTE, which is unmatched in the state. I can say that because I'm super proud of her. She doesn't need me to be proud of her, but I am. She's also a former student of mine. She got us ready for CTE in ways that nobody else in the state had a vision for. We were super blessed because one day Chief Blair came and sat in Russ's office in his first tour of duty and said, I'm a Green Beret who doesn't have a mission. I need a mission. I think my mission is here at Huntington North High School. Can we get JROTC to be a piece of what happens? And Russ immediately jumped on that and began to work with Chief Blair, and Bobby has done a brilliant job. We're gonna miss him truly. He has a great replacement, but it was all kinds of fun to say we have a Green Beret walking up and down the hallways here at the high school. His vision also included we just became a purple school, a school that supports our veterans and our veterans' family, and that's a great honor. The state just gave that to us last week. And so because we put those pieces in place, each time knowing that we have kids who will benefit from it, right? Like JROTC, they handle some of our really squirrely kids who just need someone to give them direction. And we also have kids who walk out of here full ride scholarships to college because of it, right? Like both ends of those pieces. CTE, once upon a time, we thought that's where you put the squirrely kids that've got to like touch something. But most of those kids are walking out of school with at least a year's worth of credits and sometimes 2 years worth of college credits. And oftentimes kids who are across the road are also in our top 25, right? We used to have a lot of kids who earned both an academic honors and a technical honors. This slide that's on the screen, I predict we'll have some kids who'll earn an enrollment plus seal and an employment plus seal, or an enlistment plus seal and an enrollment plus seal almost immediately. And so that vision that Russ began several years ago has really paid off, because as we will go around the state, people are scrambling to find one of these three, and we were uniquely ready to help kids wherever their path might take them.
As a former student of yours too, I am impressed by what's going on. So the other part that I like about the True North program that you talked about was the fact that we're finding something for everyone, which is, when I had a child going through here, that was a problem because he needed that. Mm-hmm. So I commend you and the staff of Huntington North for looking at everyone. And as our motto says, every child, every day. I think you guys are leading that, and I just want to commend you, and I will tell Dr. Diggins that when I see him next.
Thank you.
Thank you for all this. It's, as a parent that had two daughters that both went to college and had college credits, it was a huge savings on my pocket, their pocket, and to go the next step to the associate's degree, I mean, that's huge. I mean, depending on where you go, $10,000-$30,000 you just saved me. So thank you for all this. I really appreciate it. And I also had a son that he went down the get me the heck out of here path, and you know, he's done very well. And so the CTE part of it is a huge thing too. So thank you.
It's absolutely amazing how many of our kids leave here and local businesses are in bidding wars for them, right? Like, the amount of money that they can make at 18 is just mind-boggling sometimes. I'll soapbox just for a minute because this is a favorite part of my speech, and I give it a lot, but I don't want a kid to leave Huntington North High School upon graduation and not have a sense that they can accomplish anything that they want to accomplish. I don't want them, because of a test score or because they haven't taken a college class yet, to go to work and our kids are great and they're hardworking and they're kind and they're polite and have an opportunity, and because we didn't serve them well enough, they're afraid to walk through that open door. I want every one of our kids to leave here fully expecting to walk through whatever door that's open for them. And Mr. Wall said something brilliant today in my office, which, you know, I take pride that he said something brilliant. He said, you know what, if they have the associate's degree right out of high school and they go to work, they still have an associate's degree right out of high school and they go to work. And I said, that's exactly that open door that I want kids to have, right? Like, which business in town is going to be like, yeah, you have an associate's degree, I don't think we're going to pass on you. Like, that's not going to happen. And so this is a piece that will help our kids who are college bound, and it'll help our kids who don't know if they're college bound, right? And so I could not be more excited to present this to you tonight.
You know, as if we weren't doing a lot already, I think we have to at least acknowledge one common denominator besides Mr. Daggett is Lynn Brown. Just over and over and over, we hear about the great things happening here in High Community Schools, and you are really something special. It means a lot, I know, to the schools that you are doing what you do. The trust and dedication and the things that are created. It's impactful. It is inspirational. Thanks.
You're gonna make me cry. And my
Truth.
makeup will run.
It's the truth.
You know what? Here's the thing. We work with amazing people. We just do. Like, I watch the cafeteria staff support our kids in way, like they sneak food to kids and they ask them how they did on their Spanish test, and they all like every single day, or a kid will be upset and they won't speak to someone the way I would hope that they would always speak to them, and instead of growling back at them, they ask them what's wrong and what they can do for them, right? The custodians, like, they run every time a locker in this building's jammed. I saw one at a middle school get kids some shoes. They're like, oh, don't worry, you forgot your gym shoes. There's some over here. Let me help you out. Like, the bus drivers bring kids coats, and like, crazy things happen around here. And it has been my absolute blessing and pleasure to serve people who work that hard. And it's also a pleasure. I said this to Ryan earlier today. The school board has not always been as supportive of everyone as this school board is currently, and I cannot tell you how much that means to the staff, the teachers, the bus drivers, when they know that the school board has everyone's best interests at heart and takes that extra mile and are standing on the football field with me on a Friday night in the wind and the rain. So thank you guys. I couldn't do anything that I do without you.
Lynn, I'd like to say that earlier you made a statement that Russ was the A team and you were the B team. I'm going to say you were the A+ team.
Aw.
I will also say, as far as the college credit goes, I've got a son in college right now who graduated from here. The program that he's in refuses to let him do it in less than 4 years. So because of the credits he has here, he will be graduating with 4 degrees rather than 1. So thank you.
That's right. There's some schools that do those kind of things, or they won't necessarily count the credits the way we hope, but they won't let them, Notre Dame is an example, that they won't let them in if they haven't done these things, right? That the only way to jump that hoop. And so even though sometimes it's not a one-to-one, sometimes it's better than a one-to-one, and you're exactly right.
And I talked to a parent the other day, and they were a little, I'm just cannot get over how important this will be to them, but they were a little bit doubting that we were able to do this. And I said, I'm telling you for fact. And they said, well, I hear you, but what are your facts, Mr. Brimberry? And I said, well, my daughter graduated with this at a previous place, and she walked right in as a junior at Indiana State University and applied for graduation after 1 year, waiting for 2 semesters out. So I know this to be true. And if it's good enough for one kid, it's good enough for all those kids. And we have worked hard to make sure that this truly will do what we tell people it will do. I don't want them to have 180 credits, but I want them to be able to get done, if they choose to, with their second degree in 2 years. And that was the goal when we first started looking at this. And I know from my own house, from a little girl that's applied for graduation, has the exact same program as this from my previous district. And it does work, and you can, if you choose 4 years, you'll end up with a master's degree or multiple certifications and things. And so I'm looking forward to when you see the first one at Huntington North at graduation in a year or two. It's a big deal. You want to see parents get emotional? Wait till you see that one, because it's a powerful day.
Well, Mr. Brimberry, Ms. Brown, thank you. This is really exciting. I mean this. When you think about the benefits to children, I commend you, your entire staff up here for what you're doing each and every day. I feel like our kids are blessed to be here, and for all of what you guys are doing, thank you, and I mean that. Thank you. Thank you, Lynn. Next up is Mr. Butler. Mr. Butler does a tremendous amount of great work for us. It's always fun for me when Kenny gets to be at the mic once in a while. He's behind the camera here a lot at board meetings and such.
Somebody get a picture of this guy while he's up here.
Yeah, somebody do that, because he's always taking pictures of other people. Kenny came on a couple years ago. Was it 2 or 3 now, Kenny? How many years has it been?
July 23 was my first
Okay.
month.
So Kenny is is in charge of our director of our marketing and communications. He's been responsible for so much in the district. But today, what you don't know is he has been working tirelessly for a long time. Several months, that's probably turned into more than a year at this point in time, with a brand new web page, okay? And so tonight is really the first time that we're going to start showing you his work. He is going to be very humble about this, but my goodness, has he spent an enormous amount of time putting this together. So Kenny, I'm going to turn it over to you so you can showcase where we're going with our webpage, okay?
Yep. So just to preface this a little bit before we jump in, the goal with this transition was to create more of a robust platform, not only for staff and students, teachers to use, but the community to use as a hub for the district and the county. So that was the goal in reflecting on our current and then transitioning to that. Yes, it has been a long road, and it will be. It's not meant to be a stagnant tool that we use. So it is a long road, and that's okay. As long as it serves the community well, then that's our goal. So just a quick comparison. I know we've all seen it, but the current website, this is what it looks like in that desktop view, and I'll show a sample of that in mobile. That would be I would say the secondary goal, at least for me. It's probably a primary for John, but a secondary for me, in making the website function on mobile. The current, it's there, but it's pretty limited to what we can do beyond what it is currently, and it is quite a pain to try to get it to work on mobile especially. So that's just a quick preview. We've all seen it, but you'll see that in transitioning to the new one, I didn't want to go too crazy as far as the general layout. Just to make that transition a little bit smoother, hopefully, for new users or for those that are familiar trying to navigate and find information. With that, we tried to create a header that stays true for all the websites. So John says website, but technically it's websites. So we have a website for every school. We have one for the district and of course the Learning Center. So I'm not going to go through all of that, but I will preview the district and then I'll pop into Andrews, given that's the one that's the most complete at this point. Once we have that, then we can work through as we go. What you're seeing here is just a sample video. I have an intern that is working on developing new video intros for the district and every school, which is pretty exciting. So we'll have student work right on the front as soon as that is ready, and it'll be for the world to see, which will be pretty neat. I'm going to zoom in just a little bit so you can see. So we'll have a dedicated staff area. We will have a dedicated students area and then parents. Those are our three core groups, I would say, that are going to navigate this the most. And what this does is allows us to pinpoint specific key items that are commonly used or needed. One additional component that we're working on right now is to develop a more robust usage rights for staff. Currently, on our current website, there are resources for our staff, but it's essentially open to the public. So what that means is that there are links that the public doesn't necessarily need to see, but they currently live on the website because it's accessible for the staff. So working with the technology department, this will be a part of our 2FA or two-factor authentication, where they have to securely navigate through that to essentially access specific items. So it's another barrier to entry that complicates things and makes things more secure for us, which is nice. I'll just click on a few things, give you a preview. So you have different areas, right? So students, most pages will look generally like this, where there's a brief introduction and then there are a few items to navigate through. Your more robust pages will be to highlight certain groups, certain clubs and activities, things of that nature, just to navigate through a little bit. So fun stuff there, just handbooks, just cleaned up a little bit, and again, more dynamic, so it actually functions on mobile, which will be really nice. There will still be outsourced links throughout. You can't really help that too much, but a lot of this stuff was taking the longest time, to rephrase that, is that I'm taking active documents that we use that have been put on here via PDF, and I'm reformatting those so it actually functions in a more dynamic way on the website, and that just takes time. So in the long run, it will pay off. We'll just have to be patient as we build. So to the sub banner is what it's called here. You'll see enroll in our schools, and then this little it's called a hamburger menu. It's a stack, right? These will also live on every website, and it will always stay up top. So your enroll, it gives you information for new students returning, and then zoning information. So that will live there forever. It will, of course, need updated as we need that, but it will be on every page, which is nice. Our schools, just to give you a preview of that. Okay, so divided it up by elementary, middle, and high, and then we have CTE and then alternative programming as well. So again, I'm not going to dig through all of that, but there's quite a bit there. So again, a bigger goal was just to, over time, you just have more and more that's added, and if you have more hands in that, you have individuals that put things in places with the best intention, but over time you just need to recollect all of your resources and restructure it. So that's a big part of this too, where we're trying to make be really intentional with how things are organized, so it's easier not only to navigate but to search for. There's a lot of back end work with that too, SEO, all that. I'm not gonna bore you with that, but here's a board page for you, just to give you an idea. Again, not trying to reinvent the wheel too much, but just make it cleaner and easier to access. You'll see a lot of these what are called accordion menus that will give you more specifics without filling the page too heavy. Let's see what else. The header or the footer, sorry, that will look the same throughout, right? Where your contact information, you'll have a directory at the bottom, and then all the socials for that specific school that are used. In this case, there's a few more there, given that we're active on YouTube with our live stream publications. So let's go. I wanted to show you a different school too. Oh, I'm gonna back up real quick. I forgot to show something. It will not work on here just because it's a preview, it's not fully published, but on the right there you'll see this tab that says live stream. That will follow you wherever you go, so as long as you scroll on the page, that will navigate with you. So in our case, that will be there. You'll click that and it'll go right to our live stream for the board meetings, which will be nice. So in the case at the high school, we can do the same with our HNHS media channel, and our live streams will be there on the ready. Another thing right off the top, sorry, you have 6. Yeah.
Reference the live stream, will it choose, like we have several events going on at once, is there just, is there gonna be a choice, is there different places?
So you can technically have multiple tabs too. It just depends on what one. Yeah, it'll depend on how we set it up. In our case, for the district, it'll go straight to the board. But for the high school, we'll have to figure that as we navigate. My guess is that we'll have multiple tabs, or we'll have one that constantly floats, and then there'll be a secondary.
Do you have, as far as updating it, it's usually the issue with websites, whether it's county, city, whatever it is.
Yes.
Will you be responsible? Will there be anyone?
So I'm working with John on some of the ideas that I have, but there is a more robust way to provide access to specific things. You can have, of course, like full admin rights and change everything on the website, or you can be really granular and even just allow even just one content area. In that case, we could provide even students access to manage the website with a fail-safe. So they can work on it, and it has to go to the person managing the page to approve, whether that be me, or in this case, Mr. Altman, if he's updating the live stream or what have you. So there are more opportunities there to manage and update. So yeah, these here, what we'll do with these over time is once we collect enough information on what's being accessed, these will be kind of your hot topics that are accessible. So those can interchange as we go, but they will constantly live there. And that'll be a one-click kind of deal. Below that, you'll have like this ticker tape. The cool thing with this website in comparison to our previous is that the way it was set up is that every website had its own news section. And while that is still true, we can jump throughout all the websites. So I can, in this case, if there's something that we want to share at the district level, but it actually happened at Horseman, it can live on both without having to do twice the work. Everything that you do now, if it's on multiple pages, you have to do it that many times. So that'll be really nice. So in your question there with managing and updating, that's been the intention through this process too, is to, if there's something that could be directly linked to something else that's already updated, those channels are being worked on too, so. Yeah, so the general page there, because you have your highlight reel type of video, that can be a still image too. We're gonna go for gusto and make it video. And then you'll have updates through here with news segments, and then an area to highlight specific programs at the school or throughout the district. So these will change, they'll float as new things come and things change, stuff like that. And then, of course, there's a big enrollment button at the bottom that will forever live there too. So preview another school, just to give you an idea. Just let it load up. So again, you can see the look is really consistent, and the branding is all in the same spot. And this is, you'll see that it doesn't have the updated news stories there, but just filler right now. So a lot of the same look. That was the other goal, is to make it as consistent as possible from one page to the other. That way when your student transitions from Roanoke to Crestview, it's new branding, but the information is in the same spot. So the big component now is working on the directory and the usage rights, which I have a meeting later this week to really dig into. Yeah, I could keep navigating through, but I feel like it's a good spot for if you have questions or comments, things like that.
So Kenny, when do you think you're going to go live? What's kind of the time frame that you've?
Ideally, we could go live right over Christmas break. Less engagement at that time. We can test things out. Ready to go for that next semester. So I would like to get in front of our principals and secretaries, since they're the most engaged in this, I would say, at the building level, especially our secretaries. So I can navigate with them, so they have a general idea of where things are at. Another thing, just kind of a side note, trying to build out a frequently asked questions section too. So I'm getting with admin and secretaries to see what common questions they're receiving about information that can be found on the website. So that's another thing we're building out that we don't currently have.
So you have perfect timing because of the presentation that Lynn just did. I'm trying to figure out how we work in that True North stuff in here to start an advertising campaign, so we can trumpet that on high so everyone knows it, because I think that's the thing that can help start getting some other students from other communities to come here.
Absolutely.
So is that something that this website can help do?
Oh, for sure. Yeah. And that's something we can highlight and organically change over time with the programming right here on the homepage. Focus on those competencies that we're hitting, our seals. Yeah.
Being on your phones is what we're really trying to strive for here too.
Yep.
If you think about how much time you search, you do it mostly on your phone. And so this is a big step forward from that angle also.
Yep. So just as a preview, if you want to see what it would look like in that orientation of a phone, right? So it's a little more it's a lot more dynamic in how you can navigate on your phone. Scroll here real quick just so you can see it. So again, this is where you could see that those specialized programs that could funnel in that focus. So.
Well, having worked on the site that we're currently on now, I know how much work you've already put into this because I can see it. So thank you for doing all the work. It's been a yeoman's task, so keep up the good work.
Thanks.
Kenny, thank you. The UI for this is so much cleaner. The user interface is so much cleaner and easier. I'm watching the screen across the room and I can see it, and it's much more intuitive. So I think, sometimes when you make this kind of shift, people really struggle, and I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think this is much cleaner and much easier. Thank you for all your effort on this.
Yeah, thank you.
So the high school athletics kind of navigates away from, it may not, but in my eyes, it navigates away from our website. Will that still be the case? And will it be updated like this also?
So every program, every group will have their own page. So it allows for the opportunity for them to stay on our website longer. The complication that we run into with athletics is that there are third-party sources that a massive majority use. We have some of the benefit that we use some of the same tools. So EventLink is a scheduling platform that we use mainly for athletics, for other things too, but its powerhouse is scheduling athletics. And the caveat with that is that we can build out as much as we want here, but with athletics specifically, the way they schedule officials is directly through EventLink. So we have to hold true to that. I think if we did a massive shift, our ADs might come and haunt me for a long time. So what we're going to do is try to marry those a little bit more, where we have as much as we can on our website, but inevitably, at least at this point, with EventLink, that's where the scheduling and all that's going to be taking place. A preview of what that can look like. Crestview, they embed a lot of their calendars right inside of each tab for their specific sports. So it'll look in some semblance like that, where you can actually navigate the schedule on our page. So technically, for a quick view, you wouldn't have to leave. But I think that's kind of where we're at. So do I want them to stay on our page? Absolutely. Technically, are they on our page, or can they stay there? Yes. But they will have a dedicated space on our website, where the previous, we technically had two different URLs. We had HN Athletics, and then we had Huntington North. Those are going back together. So I know they're technically under contract for a little while longer, but it's not being renewed. So
Is that the hnvikings.com?
yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I think that was I'm not going to get this entirely correct, but from what I know, it was a thing through, oh shoot, just lost the word. Anyway, they bought a package of some sort, and that came with it as a part of that agreement, and it was a 3-4 year contract, whatever it may be. But yep.
Well, Mr. Butler, thank you. You're an incredibly talented young man.
Thanks.
You are doing some incredible work. This gives our community, gives those around us a window into who we are and what we do. And just like what Ms. Brown was doing before, when we marry this with that, what a great opportunity to share that. I think sometimes some of our community thought that the branding was an isolated, singular issue. And now I think you're beginning to see how we're weaving it into everyday aspects of what we're doing. We had to start there before we could get to here, and I know next steps after this will be just as exciting for what we're doing. But Kenny, thank you. I am grateful for you, your talents. You do so much work behind the scenes. It's good to get you out front.
Sure.
Sure, that's what I thought I'd get from you, as a sure. But no, what an incredibly talented young man. So Kenny, thank you. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Thank you. All right, the last agenda item that we have, Mr. Peters, you have just been patiently waiting down there, you know. But we're going to talk about science curriculum and ILearn checkpoints. So, Jay, is it to you?
I'll start this year, but we are hopeful for the 26-27 school year that we will go through a social studies adoption that has also been long overdue. So that's exciting, and I wanted to share that with you. But pursuant to the Indiana Code 20-20-5.5-2, the IDOE shall evaluate, approve, and publish a list of high-quality curricular materials for science, technology, engineering, and math. There were 13 vendors to choose from on this list. A science committee was developed, and right now we have 3 teachers from each elementary representing K1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the science department from Crestview and Riverview in grades 6, 7, and 8 of 3 teachers, and then also our high school science department that consists of 3 teachers. And so that's our science committee currently right now. They're in the process of vetting. We're down to now, we've got 3 or 4 choices. Whittled that 13 down to 3 or 4 top choices that they're looking at reviewing. We've provided a list of science standards for the grade levels along with an evaluation tool that Mrs. Brown put together that we're looking at to evaluate those materials. And so we're excited about what that is bringing to the district, but also excited for the fact to bring you a recommendation. And our hope would be that in January, that we would bring to you a recommendation for your approval. This timeline is, the reason for this timeline is so that we could begin, once you approve, we could then purchase those materials and have them here for summer PD, which is going to be critical to get them in the hands of teachers. And our goal would be that they would have them in hand before they would leave for summer break. Then we could provide summer PD for them and roll out these materials. The teachers have been working hard. We've got a great committee. What is going to be also vitally important is that we also have parent input, and parent involvement at all levels is going to be key. It's going to be key when we do social studies adoption to have parent involvement, to preview those materials and take a look at them. So again, we're excited about that. But again, just wanted to bring you an update. Special thanks, Tanya Lockmeyer has the distinct honor and privilege of working with Mr. Brimber and I on a daily basis. And she has been ordering those materials, getting those materials from vendors, talking to vendors, establishing relationships, getting those sample copies, and those are going out to the buildings as we speak to get eyes on those materials so we can begin to preview and really get into the weeds to see what is our best choice. I will tell you from an elementary standpoint, one of the top choices is Discovery Education, which Mystery Science is what we're currently using, and Mystery Science is in that Discovery Ed. So not sure if that's going to be our top choice, but at least that was on the list. So just wanted to give you an update as to where we're at. We're excited about it. Again, Lynn is instrumental. Lauren Hogue is doing an outstanding job. Both of them are instrumental in helping us move this initiative forward. And so, again, really, really excited.
Mr. Peters, first, God bless Tanya.
Yes.
It seems to me that was it like right after COVID we were trying to figure something out here?
Yes,
Because
and they
I
put
know
us on
you've been
hold.
really frustrated in
Yes.
trying to get this taken care of, and
Yes.
it's just evaded us for so long. So congratulations, well done. Excited that we finally get a chance to see some new material and curriculum. I can tell by your tone that you're pretty jazzed, which is
Yes.
important to us.
Long overdue,
Yeah,
guys, in our district, truly.
We certainly trust your efforts and the fact that you've been so inclusive in involving all the teachers like that. I'm afraid that sometimes that's missed, and I hate it when I hear teachers say, "Well, I just wish we'd have that asked us," you know. So it's great to hear that it's been a group effort, and
Have a great committee.
I'm not surprised, but
Thank
I'm
you.
really happy about that.
Have a great committee of teachers. They're working hard, so excited about that. It's interesting to note, as of right now, I do not see a vendor list for our social studies adoption. And again, that's interesting. You can read a lot into that, but that's interesting that that's not published out there yet. So that may still be in the works. So we'll keep you informed. Thank you.
So how does that work with, I'm old school textbooks means textbooks.
Yes.
But we're not in the textbook era. We are, but we aren't. So do you get a little bit of both?
Yes, there's digital resources. Great question, Matt. There are not only textbooks, but there are digital resources available through these vendors that
So
we can
it's
take
kind of
look
like
at.
a subscription or whatever?
Yes,
Okay.
yes.
Matt, really good question. We started this a couple years ago on exactly what you're talking about, and Jay just referred to. Our business department at the high school is completely digital in terms of all of their resources, and it comes with an annual fee, which is easy for school districts to budget, and so they prefer the electronic version. We do have some hard copies, if you will. Different students do still need that. We do keep those as well for different departments, resource and other things, but I will tell you, their entire curriculum is what you're talking about, and it provides us with a multitude of classes, and that become an annual fee.
So we're way more advanced than I thought we were.
Every once in a while, Matt, we get it right.
I would just also remind the board that we do have money set aside for this because of the curriculum materials fees. If you remember Becky Smith, the end of last year, the state changed the law that moved that separate fund that we used to have a conversation about, and they put it in the education fund. So when you look at the $60 million cash balance that we have in the education fund, just as a reminder that about, I believe it was like 2.5-ish million, I'd have to go back and look, somewhere close to that, is set aside specifically for that. So we do have some funds set aside for that because, as Tim so eloquently put, we have been working on this or waiting on this for a while, and to Mr. Peter, that's probably why he has some gray hair in there, because he's been waiting so patiently for this. But the other question I have for you, Mr. Peters, is the new phrase that I've learned to grow as a board member is supply chain delays. I know you have a desire to get those in the hands of the teachers. Yes. Do we anticipate any of those supply chain delays?
So far, we've not heard anything that would delay that, so we'll keep you posted on that. But that's why getting it to you in January for approval, that gives us 4 or 5 months here of some leeway that we can get those materials in. Ideally, I'd love to get them in the hands of our teachers before they leave school in May to possibly preview, maybe possibly use that, and then have some summer PD for them to be ready to roll in the fall.
I'm just happy for you that we're finally going to get started on this. So
it's like a new toy.
Good job, good work.
Thanks.
Anything further? Chuck?
Board, you also saw on your agenda, it's just a friendly reminder, Jay and Lauren and our principals and teachers and Lynn are to say we're focused in a couple of other areas would be an understatement. Friendly reminder, the Checkpoint One data is out there for us and our parents and our kids, and I just want to remind the board, because we talk about a lot of different things, but let me remind you what a checkpoint really is. Back in John, Jay, and mine, and Lynn, we would have called those formative assessments, except this is at the state level. And what that really is, this is a non-graded test that leads to the summative meaning the ILearn exam at the end of the year. And the reason you get snapshots is just to let you know this is what we thought we would teach, this is what we agreed to teach, and there's what the kids have done. And it's not a pass-fail thing, even though you'll get a score on how they did. It's a snapshot to say, here's where the student is on mastery. And the reason I didn't think we'd ever see it in our careers with John, Jay, and I, it allows for systemic reteaching. And I say that because you get a score back, and I'll use middle school math. The state mean average after Checkpoint One was up about 5% this year. The state mean average in middle school was up 10% this year. Now, what does that mean? That means about 20% or 25%, depending on where you've decided how much you're going to teach, has been taught. How did the kids do? Well, they gave you a score. Most of the time, the state, it's somewhere between 28 and 37%, depends on what checkpoint you're taking at that particular test. Then you see where your kids are at, and they will mark them as they're at level, they're approaching level, or basically you're in need of more supports or interventions. All of that information is okay for kids. It gives the teachers the ability to say, oh, well, we thought we taught that. We thought we had it. They really didn't do as well on that, so let's take a look back. The work that's being done by Lauren, our principals, our teachers, and collaboratively in Lynn allows them to look back and reteach systemically, and it's gone on now for 2 years in Huntington. And, but it's mandatory this year in the state. If you remember last year, we said, hey, we're gonna be on the cutting edge of this, and we're gonna put this in ahead of time to see how we do with this. Well, this year it's mandatory. The whole state's doing it. But what we've noticed is the checkpoints are now systemic. It's not a shock to our kids. One of the things Len and Jay and I and Lauren talk about is the kids are taking the test, and it's not a shock that, hey, about every 9 weeks, you take this thing called a checkpoint, and it's okay. It gives you information back. And then about 2 to 3 weeks, we retest you on the same standards if you didn't pass to see how you did again, if we've needs more interventions, or no, you're back to where we want you. Then you do the same thing with the second checkpoint, and then you reteach it. Third checkpoint, same thing, and then your summative at the end is your ILearn test, is the final exam, if you will, on how you did. I want to remind the board, when you hear checkpoints, and parents were getting great calls from them, hey, you know, my student did this on there. What does that mean to us? That's fantastic. They're talking about their child's first term, first quarter of the year, systemic checkpoint, snapshot, formative assessment. It's all the same stuff. And so when you as a board member hear those, hey, they didn't do well, or they did great on checkpoint 1 or 1A, that's just a little snapshot formative, about 24 questions sometimes, Len, Jay, 25 questions, and it just gives you, hey, these are the standards you thought you'd cover, here's what you actually did on those. And it's not for our parents that are worried that, hey, my child got approaching, my child got this. No time to panic. We still have the rest of the school year to do these interventions to help them get caught up. You'll hear reteaching a lot. You're hearing in one of the schools they're adding some minutes to some of the kids that maybe just need a little extra, and that's okay. You'll hear some after-school stuff. You'll hear some time during the day that certain kids are getting a little bit different intervention. It's honestly what Jay talked about a year ago on what I need now, you know, what I need. And these kids are getting that systemically in Huntington, but I just wanted to do a friendly reminder. When parents reach out to you now, checkpoint 1 and 1A and 2 and 2A and so on, that is basically a non-graded formative that allows you to say how you doing now, still time to teach. And so you're going to hear that, and that's a good thing in Huntington. That means our parents and kids and teachers are talking about achievement, and that's a positive. So just wanted to give you a friendly reminder, because you're going to start hearing this. I'm hearing it from parents now.
So Chuck, being the old school guy that I am, it's a mind shift in how we used to look at those. Is that what that's how I'm hearing you. I just want to make sure that
yeah, it's a non-punitive test. So it's not, if you do great, that just means you're doing well on those standards that were tested at this time of the year. But if you, for some reason, didn't do well on that, please know that's just, you know, and from Ryan, the old coaching model, you didn't do well that day doesn't mean that's how you're going to play in the sectional. And the summative at the end is the old sectional. Everything leading up for that is practice, basic on how you're doing and how your kids are doing. And there's a lot of interventions happening K-8 right now for those checkpoints that are happening in each building. But we need to talk about that stuff at board level, because parents are now talking about this in our community. I've heard it when I'm out. My kid did this on your checkpoint. What's that mean to me? Well, there's a parent portal that I believe Mr. Vickery helped set up, Jay, if I remember, for our parents, and they've got information on how to log in and see it. But what I asked for tonight was just a friendly reminder. This is what it means, but it's not punitive. It's not an A or an F. It's just a little, hey, how you doing test.
So we use that coaching analogy because I think this actually works. Is the checkpoint's kind of like the game to see how you're doing.
Yeah, it's just
and then
a
you go
scrimmage
back
along the way.
You go back and watch the film and figure out what you need to do for the next game
Really,
to get to that sectional, right?
It really is a scrimmage along the way to the final game, and the kids are doing better at focusing on test. I heard from several of our teachers, my kids this year seem to take that one more serious. They tried to stay focused longer. Well, last year we were, you know, monitoring how they did, because how much effort you put towards a test is usually the value of the test. Well, if you didn't value it because it wasn't really something you knew about, your scores really aren't really accurate on what the kid knows. Well, they're doing a better job at that focus because systemically, Jay and Lauren Lynn and our principals and teachers put this in last year. So you'll keep hearing about it, and we'll bring you data in the future to say, here's a snapshot, here's how the kids are doing, and we've already got that data and have already examined it.
Thanks for bringing that, because I think that's going to be helpful, because I think as everyone learns this new process, it's good to understand what we're seeing.
Anything else? Thank you all for your information tonight. Very important for us to hear it, and honestly, the community to get a good hear too. I will take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you, Mr. Wall. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, Mr. Melcher.